Hello, it's me again. I'm still not at school, sadly. I'm still at home at the moment, but I really hope to see you all soon. I'm going to read you another story from my book collection, Naughty Stories for Good Boys and Girls. And this one is called The Laziest Boy in the World. Big Butt Barton, or Rupert Clarence Barton to his parents, was the laziest kid I have ever known. So lazy that one day he simply refused to get out of bed. Ever, except to go to the toilet, of course, and even then he sat down for everything. But more of that later. It all began when Rupert was a baby. His parents thought he was the dearest little thing that God had ever put breath into. Although his brother would hardly agree, he thought Rupert belonged in a zoo. To make Rupert happy, because he made them so happy, his parents gave him things. Anything and everything. Spoiled him rotten, they did. Toys, cuddles, drinks, and as much as he could possibly eat, which was a lot. It wasn't long before poor Rupert looked like a plastic blow-up baby that had come out of the factory all wrong. Pinhead, huge tummy, and a massive bum. His brother wanted to stick a pin in him to see if he would burst. And when it came to changing Rupert's nappy, volunteers were quite hard to find. As Rupert grew older, his parents continued to spoil him, and unfortunately, it really messed him up. When people give you stuff all the time, it makes you unhappy. Because of the fun of life is doing things. What is there to do if everything is done for you? So you become sad and lazy, and sadness seems to make people tired, which just makes you lazier still. Rupert didn't even make his bed. He threw his dirty clothes on the floor. He never cleaned his teeth and never replaced the toilet roll. He left sweet wrappers all over the place, never put milk back in the fridge, used the same tissues to blow his nose if the new box hadn't been opened, and stuck chewed up bubble gum on his bedroom wall. Yuck. But a day came along when Rupert's parents at last woke up to themselves. Rupert's father was cooking a surprise dinner for his mum when the phone rang. He yelled out to Rupert that it could be a really important call that he was expecting. Would Rupert please watch the chops frying on the stove? Rupert didn't even bother to answer. He was watching TV and it was one of his favourite shows. And guess what? The chops caught fire and the kitchen burnt down. $5,000 worth of damage. Rupert didn't care. Why should he? They weren't his chops. That night, Rupert's father said to his mum, "Do you know what? Our son is a pig. A lazy, selfish, disgusting pig." So when Rupert became so lazy that he refused to get out of bed, his father hit the roof. "You will get up," screamed his father, "and you will get dressed and go to school. Otherwise, you're grounded for a month." Grounded, thought Rupert, smiling to himself and snuggling under the blankets. How much more grounded can I get? Although Rupert knew his father was right about him being lazy and selfish, he knew that his mum wouldn't be a problem. He could con her every time. Wrap her round his little finger. You see, Rupert's dad went off to work every day, leaving his mum, who worked on weekends, at Rupert's mercy. "Mummy," Rupert would say from his bed. "Mummy, I love you very, very much." "And I love you too, darling," his mum would reply. "Mummy, can I have some lunch?" "No, your father and I have agreed no food, in fact no anything, until you get out of bed." "Then you mustn't love me very much after all." "That's not true." Then how could you make me starve? I've read about poor little kids like me. They feel unloved. They leave home. They jump in front of trucks and they die with broken hearts. It wasn't long before Rupert would be propped up in bed with extra pillows, munching on 2 hamburgers, chips, fried chicken, onion rings, 2 eggs and tomato sauce, followed by ice cream, lemonade and 4 donuts. The first night of his big lie-in, friends came round to see why he hadn't been at school. "Because I can't be bothered getting up," replied Rupert. "Fair enough," said his friends. "Cool." That night, when Rupert's father found him still in bed, he went berserk. He tried dragging Rupert to the floor, but Rupert was too big to move. Apart from being huge, Rupert's massive bottom had made a huge hollow in the mattress. It was like pulling an elephant out of quicksand. It wasn't long before Rupert's teachers began to ask questions. The newspapers as well. Someone had rung the Daily News and the headline screamed, "They've made his bed, now he's lying in it." The story said that all kids get it too easy these days and it's their parents' fault. If something wasn't done soon, the newspaper said, the world would be full of sad people and fall to bits. Suddenly, Rupert was becoming famous. Television, radio and magazines all wanted to speak to Rupert, and finally one TV programme called. Front Page said that if Rupert would speak to their show, and their show only, they would pay him $10,000. Exclusive it was called. Yes, 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 thought Rupert. On the big day, Rupert looked out his window and it seemed as though he was the most important person in the world. There were trucks, people, cameras, lights, and if Rupert wasn't mistaken, a man carrying a padlock bag which surely contained 10,000 beautiful dollars. And then a knock at the door. "Mum! Dad!" yelled Rupert. "Quick, it's them!" "Oh, really?" said his dad, peering around the door. "Get it yourself." "What?" screamed Rupert. "I can't. If I get up, that means I'm not in bed. And that means they won't talk to me. It ruins everything." "Love to help," said his dad, "but I just can't be bothered. Sometimes life sucks. Doesn't it, Rupert?" "Mum!" yelled Rupert. "Please!" I can't hear you properly," said his mum. "I'm in the kitchen cooking your favourite meal." Poor Rupert. He did end up answering the door himself. He tried running quickly back to bed, but he tripped right in front of the man with the camera. Guess who was so big that he couldn't get up again? Like a beached whale he was, coughing and spluttering and thrashing and sweating in his very smelly pyjamas. Rupert made it onto television all right, but only as a joke. And the $10,000? No way. Rupert helps his mum and dad these days, and he's never been happier. He's still really big, but who cares? Size doesn't matter. Some of us are big, some of us are small, and some of us are medium. Big deal. In fact, Rupert's only problem in life is sleeping. He keeps hearing that knock on the door. I hope you enjoyed that one. I'll read another one soon.